So Dr. Sankaran, Dr. Rao and other colleagues from IISC. It's an opportunity for me to interact with the youngsters of today. And what I have learned over the last 2.5 or 3 decades, I'll pass it on to you so that you can take this idea forward. And before I start my presentation, let us have an understanding. Okay? I work with remote sensing data. You all know what is remote sensing. We collect the data without being in contact with the object. Remotely we are sensing. Now, as I talk to you, I'll be sensing each one of you. And this is going to be an interactive session. Now with this, let me start my journey with you all. As a teacher and as a researcher working with ecosystem, I work in forest. My environment is always calm. We do not work in a chaotic environment. You know, that is where I expect you all to give me that environment now. So, and the purpose of today is to tell you how we can use the technology. You know, and also it's very important to remember one person, you know, whose photograph is here. My senior director, you know, Satish Rao, Professor Satish Rao, one of the efficient, good human beings we have got in India, who not only academically excellent and also manage the system very efficiently. And he managed the system even if there is a young faculty rise to him. He used to address that. There was no hierarchy in this one. So everyone was treated equally. Now I am standing today with Professor Satish Rao photograph next to me. It's an opportunity for me. And I thank IISC inviting me and giving an opportunity to talk to you all. Now, I will give you the outline of my talk. You know, I said I use the data, what we have collected remotely, to understand the health of the ecosystem. You know, that is the spatial data. That is the data which is a photograph. You know, I said that we all use the remotely sensed data. In fact, all of you, including me, we are doing the sensing remotely. You know, all of you are looking at me and my slides. That means you are all sensing remotely. Okay? Now, you know what we store in our brain, maybe till evening it will be there in our brain. But if you want to do the analysis, you need to have the data for a longer time. You know, that is where we take the advantage of the technology and we use the data, we collect the data according to that. You know, I'll be talking about how we use this data for various analysis. Okay? And incidentally, this is my latest book, you know, which is going to be launched next week, 13th of October. Natural Capital Accounting and Valuation Ecosystem Services. For the first time in the globe, we have told what is the worth of the forest and what is the worth of aquatic ecosystem, the lakes, etc. You know, unless you assign the monetary value, people do not understand the worth of the ecosystem. We have tried to do that. And that's a part of the United Nations, the project. In fact, when I represented the country at UN, I was told initially, you know, when I was there, they thought that Indians means we just come to the conference, listen and go. But after listening to my talk, they said we are surprised how India could do this kind of study. I said that is the power of the youth of today. You know, group of 7 youngsters who worked with me during COVID period, we could cover the entire Karnataka and analyze what is the health of the ecosystem and what is the worth of that. And at the end, I will be talking about, as a scientist, what I have done for society. Okay? And this is the web page, which gives all the details about the work, what we do. You know, it is called Western Ghat Biodiversity Information System. You know, some of the apps which I have developed to monitor this ecosystem is available on this. This is the QR code. I will be demonstrating that at the end of my talk. Okay. Now, what is the agenda of my science? sustainable future. If I can ensure clean air, water and environment to our children, next generation, that means I have done my science. Then if we have to do that, you have to maintain the ecosystem integrity. To maintain the ecosystem integrity, you need to do the planning. To do the planning, you need the data. You need to understand the patterns. That is where this remote sensing comes to the picture. We launched the satellites way back in 70s. Probably I am one of the first generation or the second generation remote sensing data user. When I started my career, unlike today, we didn't have the customized software. We used to analyze each image. We used to write the programs, the codes, and then do the analysis. And it used to take longer time. Now, to put it in simpler words, satellites which we launched way back in 70s keep revolving the Earth, goes on taking the picture of the Earth. That means you get a picture of the Earth from 70 onwards, every 21 or 30 days interval. And of course, there are some sensors, even daily the photographs you get it, that for the various other purposes. Now, the photograph what we have got. See, now if you have your photograph of about 5 years back and today, you can see what changes have happened in the features. Okay? Similarly, if I have taken a photograph of the Earth, I can analyze what changes have happened on the Earth. How much area was under the forest, how the forest is degrading. Already Dr. Shankaran has talked about changes in climate. One of the drivers is the losing the green cover also lead to the emission. The much more emission than the industries produce. Deforestation is the greatest threat. We need to address that. Not only we have the problem of the carbon sequestration, lose the carbon sequestration capability, we also start emitting. That's where the impact of deforestation is much serious. That is where one has to look at whether we are losing the forest or how our ecosystem. That is where the data helps, and the satellites gives the picture. There are various resolutions are there. I will not get into the detail, the spatial, spectral, radiometric, etc. And finally, all this data, is like a number. We call that as a digital number or a spectral signature. Depending on the Earth feature, there is a reflectance. Your eye perceives the vegetation as green. Do you know why? When the solar energy falls on the leaves, due to during photosynthesis, the visible band of energy, the blue and red is absorbed by the leaves during photosynthesis, and green is reflected. Because of that reflectance of the green energy, your eye perceives the vegetation as green. Now, if there is a pest attack, some part of red is also reflected. That means you have green plus red, which is yellow or orange. Now, looking at visually the photograph, you can say where all the vegetation is affected because of the pest, etc. Remote sensing has a connection with Mandia. The first work my senior colleague, Professor Y.V. Venkatesh did was on the sugarcane fields in Mandia. And today, the children from Mandia are here and listening to my presentation also keenly. What we did in Mandia, my senior colleague, myself, etc., you need to take it forward. That's where understanding this at a very engaged, when you are in a school, it all the more makes you more confident in the knowledge. Okay? Now, we also use other data along with the photographs to analyze what changes are happening on the Earth. Okay, and of course, earlier I said that we were writing our codes and we are analyzing, it used to take for a small region maybe 6 to 7 months. Today, with artificial intelligence and machine learning, we have automated the whole process. What I used to take 6 months, my students do it in a month's time. That is the power the younger generation have today. Now, we can also predict what is likely to happen because we have the data from 1970 onwards. Understanding the pattern of change, you can say what is likely to happen 10 years from now or 20 years from now. Now when I was sitting on the dais here, I was looking at each youngster. And their behavior I was trying to analyze. I know that who are the people who I may have to concentrate more at the latter part of my term. So that means I have collected the data. The similar thing we do, understanding the pattern through the historical data, we predict what is it. There are standard algorithms are there, cellular automata, agent-based modeling. I will not get into the details of that because you are all tiny students. That become too complex to understand. Okay? Now, I will take you to the earth. I'll ask you a simple question. How many earth we have? Do we have more than one? Okay. That means we need to manage the earth if you want water, air and the environment. Okay? I work in Western Ghats. My home is Western Ghats. My home starts from Kerala, ends up to Gujarat. I keep roaming from Kerala to Gujarat. Like you go to school every day and return home in the evening, I keep wandering in my home region. My home, Western Ghats, constitutes only 5% of India's geographical area. And in this 5% of India's geographical area, I have 100 plus rivers which are perennial. Because of these 100 plus rivers which are perennial, I have the water. Because of that water, there is a water security in the peninsular India. Because of water security, I have food security. That means Western Ghats gives us water, Western Ghats gives us the food. Okay? Now, let us look at how many species are there on the earth. Species means varieties of plants and animals. Why do you need varieties of plants and animals? When you have varieties of plants and animals, you have variety of food. Because of variety of food, when you consume that variety of food, you get medicine, you get immunity. Because of that, you are healthy. That means maintaining the health of the earth system, you also have the health at home. Now, what is the variety we have in on the earth? As per our scripture, it's about 8 to 12 million species are there. That's where you should read the historical books, scriptures to understand the kind of the richness we have. See, Rigveda talks about 8 to 12 million species. In science, we have said about 1.5 million species. Now, out of 1.5 million species, we know the chemical composition of about 10 or 15%. That means still 85% of the species we have not understood their medicinal properties, etc. But before that, we are losing them. If we have that varieties of plants and animals, you can choose the wonders. Now, I will give you an example of that. Look at this. In one taluk in Uttar Kannada district where I work, I have 54 varieties of rice. Some are for fragrance, some are for yield. If you just hybridize this, you will get a better product, which is high yielding, fragrant, and also resistant, pest resistant. Similarly, in one village in Uttar Kannada, I have 16 varieties of brinjal. If I just hybridize that brinjal, I get a better product. That's what my youngsters have to do it. That is the science. How to optimize the properties so that you have the better products. That's where we want more and more youngsters in the science so that you can explore, learn and become successful and happy like us. We want that to happen. Okay? Now you understood the diversity. Now let us see which part of the earth we have the highest number of plants and animals variety. Latitudinally, let us see match the number of plants and animals. You will be surprised to see as you move latitudinally, you will see at 8 to 14 degree latitude, we have the highest number of plants and animal varieties. This 8 to 14 degree latitude corresponds to Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu part of Western Ghats. That means we have inherited such a rich diversity of plants and animals. It's our responsibility to manage and pass it on to the next generation. And that's where the science has to do the job. That is what we are doing. Okay? Now, how do we use the science to do that? Our satellites provides us the data. I'm very grateful to ISRO because I'm one of the beneficiaries of the ISRO products, the remote sensing data. Had I not got that data from ISRO, today my name wouldn't have been in the system. Today my name, people keep talking about me, my work, it is because of my way of doing the science, trying to understand in the unexplored areas the beauty of that region, the worth of that region. That's what we do with the remote sensors. This satellite data for the last 4 decades we have analyzed, and I said that earlier I used to take 6 to 8 months to analyze one district. My students have done for the entire Western Ghats, the 4 decade data in 6 months. That is the power of the youth of today. If we train them, then they become highly successful. That is the purpose. Catch youngsters young, give them this knowledge, they will be highly successful. And we need such successful youth for our country. Our country is moving ahead. We are moving towards the developed country. Developed country doesn't mean you are economically developed. You need to be developed with the natural resources also. That is where this kind of study helps. See, when you study this, you will see green is reducing, that means forests are degrading. And not only forests are declining, we are also seeing that forests are getting fragmented. That means you can analyze the spatial extent of the forest ecosystem and also the health of the forest ecosystem in the form of fragmentation of the forest, etc. Then using this 4 decade data, we have predicted what is likely to happen. Before that, let us see what is the carbon stored by our vegetation in the forest. As I said earlier, during photosynthesis, the plants sequester the carbon, that means carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and gives us the oxygen. That is what you require for breathing. Okay, when there is an oxygen deficiency, what happens in an auditorium like this? People will tend to sleep and people start talking more depending on the age group. Okay, so oxygen is very important. Now, how much carbon the plants have stored, we could quantify. That's what we have done through the measurement of above ground biomass and below ground biomass and in the soil. And this gives the total carbon. And we also analyze how much carbon gets stored every year. When you look at this, it has stored about 1.23 million gigagram, and every year it stores about 37,000 gigagram. You might say, what does this mean? 37,000 gigagram of carbon stored by the plants in Western Ghats is equivalent to the emission that happens in cities like Trivandrum, Cochin, Mangalore, etc. That means nature is doing some balance. That's why we should not degrade the ecosystem. And what is the worth of that? When you do some job, you are paid. Now forests are doing that wonderful job of removing the carbon from the atmosphere, what Dr. Shankaran was talking about, the emissions, it's taking away that carbon. What is the amount you can give? When we did that analysis, it amounts to 100 billion rupees. Now you might ask, so what is the use of this number? When I attend international meeting representing the country, I always tell them, this carbon that is stored in the forests of my country or the emitted by you people, because you are all industrialized. My country was not industrialized. And we have balanced the nature by taking away that carbon, because we have only one earth and one atmosphere. We have done the job of balancing, which means to conserve our forest ecosystem, you need to pay. And how much you have to pay? 100 billion rupees to the India every year. This is how I put forward the argument. Don't you think this is a very powerful argument? That is how you do that. See, when you want ice cream in the weekend, how you put forward your argument to your dad. My head is very hot, I need something to cool it down, like that. Like that, when I represent the country, I put forward the argument like that. My daddies are all European and industrialized countries. Okay, now if the degradation continues, what is likely to happen? We have visualized that. We have only 10 10% of forest as evergreen in the Western Ghats. And last 4 decades we have lost about 5 to 8% of forest cover. And if this continues, we will lose some more forest, which is going to be tragic. And what is the implication of that? We have looked at the changes in climate. Dr. Sankaran talked about evidences. Now that is what comes here. See, our prediction shows that temperature will increase. The Kerala will become warmer. When Kerala, the temperature increases by 1.5 degrees Celsius, there will be increase in vector-borne diseases. The higher temperature, you will have more of chikungunya, dengue and such problems. Okay. Then another worrying thing, the rainfall pattern. Rain which Kerala receives 6 to 8 months will start getting the low rainfall. That means the economic crop will fail. Rubber and areca, all this will fail. And more worrying this one, which Dr. Sankaran talked about, is the intensity of rainfall. The rain which was supposed to come for 4 to 6 months will come in 1 week. You have higher amount of rainfall in a shorter duration, which is called high intensity rainfall. When there is a high intensity rainfall, there will be landslides and mudslides. Why landslides will happen? Because we have degraded the forest cover. We have made that without a green cover, it has become more fragile, and that's where the landslides and mudslides will happen in the system. That means we are giving room for more and more vulnerabilities in the system. Now, let us try to understand the linkages. If you have seen my first slide, I said energy, water, nexus. Now I am going to demonstrate this. This is a photograph when I was of your age. I was working in this region. I had water, but today the same region, I don't have water. Do you see the linkage? What is the linkage? As long as greenery is there, there is a water. When you remove the greenery in the name of development, you lose the water. Now to understand this, to summarize what I said so far, the way the land is covered, the ecosystem functions also depends on this. What is the ecosystem function? You all have studied hydrological cycle, biogeochemical cycle, carbon cycle, nutrient cycle, etc. It depends on how the green the cover is. If it's a forest ecosystem, the biogeochemical cycles are different from agriculture ecosystem. Now to understand this, I will take you to a river basin. This is Sharavati river basin. It originates at Ambutirtha, traverses 128 kilometers, joins the ocean in Uttar Kannada district. It traverses about 128 kilometers. Now, what is the change we did in this system? We constructed a dam in this, I think the mouse is not working. Yeah, the dam is constructed in 1964. Now, construction of the dam, what changes have happened? See, after constructing the dam, we noticed that this portion of the catchment, the forest cover has declined. That has led to a serious problem. If you take the entire catchment area, you see one region, good forest cover like this. Another region, there is a degraded forest are there. Now, let us look at whether removal of vegetation cover or a forest in the region has affected the rainfall. You are all lucky. Today we have 124 years of rainfall data on daily basis. You can download it and you can analyze. You just download the data, divide into 2 time periods, 1901 to 1964 and 1964 to today. You will be surprised to see, before 64, this entire region was receiving the rainfall of 3,000 to 4,500. But today, after 65, one portion continues to receive 3,000 to 4,500, while the other regions started getting the rainfall of 1,700 to 1,900 millimeter. That is because of removal of vegetation cover there. 50% of rainfall we have lost it. As you all know, you would have studied hydrological cycle. On high hillar, the tall trees used to stop the cloud because of the rain used to happen. Now when you remove the tree, what will happen? Cloud will go elsewhere. That's what is happening in the region. Now, more important is when you get a rain, how long the water would be in your well that decides your livelihood. If you are from agrarian family, agriculture family, then that gives you the idea that how long the water in your well, your family can grow the crop, etc. Now for that what we did is we put the sensors in the underlying layer, that means underground, in a various catchment. One catchment dominated by native species forest, another one by monoculture plantation, another one from urban area. Like that, about 28 locations we put the sensors to understand when it rains how much water goes to the underlying layer. See, when the catchment is dominated by native species forest, because native species forests are diverse, the roots are diverse. Because roots are diverse, soil microorganisms are diverse and abundant. When soil microorganisms are diverse and abundant, it makes the soil porous and it allows the water to percolate. When it percolates, water fills the zone, saturated zone, then it fills the ground, the vadose zone. Then only you will see a water flowing in the stream or river or in the lake for 4 months because of the monsoon. Now, water stored here, after monsoon moves to the lake or river or a well for the next 4 months. Then during summer, the water stored here comes to the river or lake for the 4 months. That's how wherever forests are there, you have 12 months water. Wherever forests are converted into urban area, like Bangaloreans, nothing goes inside. So you see the water crisis during most part of the year, okay, after monsoon. Now, we graded the streams, water bodies as A, B, C, D. A are the one which carry the water for 12 months, B for 8 months, C are the 6 months, and D are the 4 months. Now let us look at the forest linkage. Wherever forests are there of native species, you have water in the water body 12 months. Wherever forests are converted into monoculture plantation, you have 6 to 8 months of water. Wherever forests are degraded with the forest cover less than 30%, you have water in the well only during the monsoon. Okay? Now, I will summarize what I said so far. This is the region where 12 months water is available. This is 8 months, yellow is 6 months, and this is 4 months. Now just overlay the remote sensing data. Wherever green is there of native species, you have 12 months water. Wherever green is fragmented, depending on the fragmentation, you have 8 to 6 months of water. Wherever green is less than 30%, you have only 4 months of water. Now you understand the linkage between the forest cover and the water availability. Okay? Now you might ask, so what? If there is a water, if there is no water, what will happen? Like Bangaloreans, we say that, okay, if there is no water in Bangalore, we will get it from moon. We will search for water in the moon. Or we will go to the Western Ghats. From my home, they want to put one pipe and bring it to Bangalore. So that kind of illogical thing, they want to do that. Now, if there is a water all 12 months, farmers can grow multiple crop or a cash crop. When the water is available for 4 to 6 months, you can grow only one crop. Children from Mandya will understand this. Parents will be worried when there is no rain in the Mandya. If the children are going to agriculture field, they will understand what I am talking. Now, the farmers who can grow multiple crop, they earn 1,54,000 rupees per acre per year. Whereas in this region, where they can grow only one crop, they earn only 32,000 rupees per acre per year, which is not sufficient even to pay your school fees. Okay? And another interesting thing, wherever forests are there, pollinators are diverse and abundant. When pollinators are diverse and abundant, pollination becomes efficient. When pollination becomes efficient, you see the yield of the crop is higher. When yield of the crop is higher, the farmers are benefited. For example, in this region, take example paddy. The paddy yield is about 14 to 18 quintal per acre. Whereas here, because there are no pollinators, the yield of the crop is 6 to 8 quintal per acre. Now you see the linkage between pollinators and the yield of the crop. Okay? Now, let us look at the biodiversity linkages. See, we did a study where all these, sloth bear tigers are there. These symbols indicate the presence of sloth bear tiger, etc. They all are there where water is there 12 months. In this region, where water is there for only 4 months, which animal is there? Only two-legged animals are there. Two-legged animals? Okay. Then we also described the 2 species of fish. These are new to science. When you come across the new species, you have an opportunity to give a name. We named it as a Schistura nagodiensis and Schistura sharavatiensis because we found that in Nagodi stream and Sharavati stream. What is the beauty of this fish? Fish has a medicinal property. It can cure bronchitis and asthma. So, as a scientist, I thought that, okay, because of the medicinal property, if I can culture it and I can make a big money, I thought. I brought those fish to the Bangalore and cultured it in my lab. Believe it or not, none of those species had any medicinal properties. Which means the fish, to have medicinal property, you should grow them in their habitat. For the fish to grow in their habitat, water has to be there for 12 months. For water to be there in 12 months in the water body, you should have the forest in the surrounding area. This brings the linkage between the forest ecosystem and the water availability. Why do you, when you get up, why do you pray for water and you start with Gangecha Yamunecha? That is because we have understood the importance of the water. Without water, no life exists on the earth. Now let us try to understand this better. Let me take another example, frogs. You all know why frogs are known as amphibians. Am I right? Because they have two stages in the life cycle. First stage is a juvenile stage, which is a tadpole stage, which is in the water, which is like a fish like the creatures. Okay? Next stage is adult stage is on the land. Now, if there is no water, what will happen to tadpole? Tadpole cannot survive. In such a case, how did these animals survive? See, with the changes in climate, there won't be any water on the earth. If we continue to pollute the system like this, we will not have water on the earth. And without water, no humans can survive on the earth. However intelligent we are with artificial intelligence, natural intelligence and all those things, we will not survive. But these animals, for example, a species Philatus leucorrhina, in a dry belt we come across, they're reproducing. We were surprised. When we looked at the thing, after fertilization, the animal jumped to the next stage, adult stage. We saw the younger ones are coming out without a tadpole stage. Don't you think these are all the things which makes you science very fascinating and makes you to get into the science? That is where you need to understand this thing. When we come across this fertilized egg, younger ones are coming out. We were so excited. We brought those fertilized egg to the Bangalore lab. On 14th day, I saw the young frogs moving in my lab. That means without water, the frogs have learned how to get it adapted to the situation. But we will not survive because we have not acquired that capability. You cannot survive without oxygen. You cannot survive without water. Isn't it? Is there anyone who can survive? Can raise hand, okay? Except my chairs and tables, okay? And my computer. That also requires air, otherwise it gets heated up. Then it won't listen to me, okay? Now, that is where understanding the importance of the linkage between the forest and the water availability. Our elders protected the patch of forest, they declared it as a sacred forest. For example, TVRAMACHANDra in Karnataka, or cows or cans in Kerala, or rice in Goa, like that. They knew that if the forests are there, then the water will be there in their well. And they wanted to make sure that the practice will continue. That's why they brought God into the picture. And there are some devils on the earth. They don't believe in God. For them, they said there are demons. If you go to Uttara Kannada, Dakshin Kannada, you will see some patch of forests which are also in the name of the Daityas. And you might say, oh, these are all your beliefs. Nothing will happen if I cut the tree. I always go for field work with the youngsters. One of the person was quite hefty and strong and true to his body size, he was also arrogant. When I was in the sacred row, I was telling him what is the sanctity we are supposed to maintain and all. He said, sir, I don't believe in you. What you are saying is not applicable to me. Then I said, that is your choice of life. I just moved ahead. After 2 or 3 minutes, I heard a big sound. Then when I turned back, I saw that fellow has tripped and he has fallen. In a few seconds, and he has torn his ligament. Then the cost of his irresponsible comment is 4 months he has to take rest. See, that's where we should respect our culture. We should respect words of the elders and the wise people. Then only we can shine. If we do not, without understanding, we should not criticize. You have a right to criticize, but you should understand that. Okay? Now we understand the importance. Now, how to conserve that? How to make the current generation to understand that? See, we try to understand the concept of sustainability. Look at my teachers. You know how I have learned. You know, these ladies taught me the concept of sustainability. You know, that lady tells me, she collects 1 bucket full of bivalves every day. You know, when she collects bivalves is a marine organism with a shell. You know, we call that as chipu. Huh? And when she sells the bucket full of bivalves in the market, she earns 350 rupees. She tells me, sir, when I sell this, I get 350 rupees. That is enough for me to run my family. So I don't want second bucket. That means she has taught me the sustainability, how to conserve resources so that I have resources tomorrow. She didn't overexploit. She didn't pollute the system. That is the sustainability you should understand. Okay? Now, if you want to do this, how will you practice this? See, people who are tech savvy, who are sitting in Vidhan Saudha, air-conditioned room now, you should use the technology to convince. So that's where we developed the decision support system. You know, what we did is, we divided the entire Western Ghats into 5 minutes by 5 minutes grid or 9 kilometer by 9 kilometer. In each grid, what is the kind of biodiversity there, what is the kind of ecology, the water, all those things we integrated. Then we gave the weights to each of these variables. Based on those weights, we prioritized the grids and we said which one are to be conserved. See, for example, if you take forest, the extent of forest we have given the red. For the very good forest, greater than 80%, we have given the high weights. Similarly, interior forest, intact forest, okay? And then we have looked at the plants and animal distribution in that. Endemic animal. That means those species occur only in that region. You don't get it anywhere else. Okay, like that we compare all the variables. To summarize what I said so far, you see that as we move from Kerala to Karnataka, you see the higher number of tree endemism is in Kerala and then Karnataka. And if you look at the fauna, you see higher number of species of fauna are there in Karnataka, before that Kerala, okay. So now we integrated all this data and we got the consolidated score, which is like the consolidated score in your transcript, okay, CGMS you get, no. So now we have grouped that into 4. Now you know that which one are ecologically sensitive. You know, recently, why not, there was a landslide. You all know about it, no? Is there anyone from Wayanad? Okay, there is no one. That's unusual, because my talk always there will be 1 or 2 from Kerala used to be there. Okay, I am sure they must be too shy to raise their hand. Let me not be. Okay, now see, we developed the decision support system. You know, Western Ghats Spatial Decision Support System. You know, this gives you the this one, visualizing the Western Ghats. You know, you can access this web page sitting at your home. You can find out whether the village is ecologically sensitive. I said, when I say ecologically sensitive, they are also vulnerable. Let us look at Kerala now. See, I will take the state. You know, you can visualize the information up to the taluk level. See, from remote sensing data, along with the collateral data of flora, fauna, I have come to the decision support system. Okay, now you see that in Kerala, which are ecologically very sensitive region, then I have a district. You know, I will choose Wayanad. Okay, now these are all ecologically sensitive region 1, this is 2 and this is 3. Okay, then I will choose a taluk. This is the taluk which is most affected in Wayanad. And if you choose a village, you will get the ecologically sensitiveness. You click on that, you will get why it is ecologically sensitive. Don't you think it helps in decision making? That's what we have done it, okay? And you know, when I wrote this article in 2018, I had predicted landslides, mudslides in Kerala and Karnataka. Kodagu in Karnataka and Kerala. Within 8 months, there were landslides in Kerala. Why not? and Karnataka. From that time, I am alerting the government of Karnataka about why we need to manage these ecologically sensitive regions. You know, if we do not manage this ecologically vulnerable region, we will pay the heavy price, you know, in the form of landslides, mudslides, etc. So we should not give a room for that, okay? So now you understood the importance of this. Now, if you want, the same thing is available in Google Play Store, the app, mobile app. You can just scan this QR code, you can download that in your phone, and also that app is called Sahyadri, SAHYADRI. You can download in the app or in your mobile, so that sitting wherever you can think about Western Ghats as I do, okay? Now, I will come to the next part of my talk. What did I do which has benefited the society? See, I might have got degrees, multiple degrees, I might be having a good job, but finally, when you see a smile in your community and in your neighborhood, that satisfaction would be much higher than any degree you get. You know what all we have done? Wastewater treatment, low cost option. Then how to sustain water on the earth? I have talked about it. I have a model like water bodies or the mini forest in my campus. And more importantly, I communicate to the youth. You know, when I communicate to the youth, I make sure they listen to me. Okay, that is what, and when they listen, you know, they take this idea forward. That's what I want also. Now, how did I do this wastewater treatment? What is greatness of this? See, my technology is a nature-based solution. You look at how Mother Nature functions. You know, look at a simple food chain. You all know food chain, no? It has producer, it has the next level consumer, tertiary consumer. You see that when they take food from one level to the other, there is an energy and material transfer happens. That's what you learn in laws of thermodynamics. You don't require a physics book. Look at simple food chain. It talks about how the energy and material transfer happen, and law of optimization and law of entropy also you can learn. Then finally, whatever is left in the system is get converted into elemental form by the bacteria and fungi. Because of that, we call bacteria and fungi as environmental, biodegraders or bioengineers we call them. And when you look at the food chain, in an organic food chain, there is nothing called waste. Because waste is synthesized, waste is assimilated in the system. Where do you see waste? Where do you see waste? You see waste where waste people are there. Go to the ward, where you see the heap of waste, you can brand them as a waste fellows. You know, who have fallen in love with the plastic and all. For everything they want, wet to their food, they will only have the plastic. You know, plastic bottle to carry the water, polythene thing to carry the food. You know, as a scientist, I'm always curious. I said, before I criticize, let me do the science. When I looked at the water quality of the water in the plastic bottle, your Bisleri, and the food what we got in a polythene bag, you know, idli, sambar, hot idli and sambar in polythene bag, you know, arrogant fellow walks as if he is doing a great job to his family. We took that sample, we analyzed, we found there are carcinogen in that. You know, carcinogen means it gives a cancer. That means this arrogant fellow is taking a food to his children to give cancer to the children. Is he a good daddy? You know, that is the mistake people are doing. Okay? So now, coming back to this, you know, my study in 2005 shows this is a Jakkur Lake. Surrounding Jakkur Lake, there are 25 wells out there. You know, when we analyze the water quality of all these wells and lake, all of them had nitrate. Nitrate gives a cancer, it's called carcinogen. Then I pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. You know, that's the power of the youth. You know, as a youth of Bangalore, we pressurized the government. When the government took up the rejuvenation, I was made a member of the committee. But they gave the money which I can have only secondary treatment plant. You know, when we talk about wastewater treatment, the wastewater generated in our home, there are 3 levels of treatment: primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary treatment will remove large particle, secondary treatment will remove the ions, and tertiary treatment will remove the nutrient. Now the nitrate problem is a nutrient problem, and government gives me the money which is sufficient to have secondary treatment plant, but I cannot have the tertiary treatment plant. Then what I did, I convinced the committee members that let us have a nature-based solution. I just integrated, constructed wetland and algal pond along with the secondary treatment plant. When the water passes through this, about 85 to 90% removal of nutrient happens. This is called remediation, bioremediation. Now today around surrounding the Jakkur Lake, there are 300 wells are there, and you go and measure those water in the well. None of them have nitrate. That means I have a satisfaction of giving a clean water at least to those 300 well users in the Jakkur Lake catchment. Don't you see that is Now, should I get a water from Kaveri for Bangalore, or do I have water? Bangalore receives a rainfall of 700 to 850 millimeter. If I catch that rainwater, I have 15 TMC of water. How much water Bangaloreans require? They require 18 TMC. That means 70% of the water required for Bangaloreans are already there in the form of rain water. Now the best way is to catch the rainwater, to harvest the rainwater. There are two ways of doing. At individual level, you can have route of harvesting. Your house will have additional 4 to 5 months of water. The next best option is to rejuvenate the lake and retain the rainwater in the lake. In Bangalore today, we have 193 lakes, 198 ward. That means each ward has one lake. If I rejuvenate the lake, I have good groundwater also. You might say, what is the linkage? My study shows wherever lakes are there, people have water in the wells less than 100 feet. When the lake was removed, for example, Nakshettihalli, in 6 years, the water level went down to 600 feet. And today, after 23 years, they have gone deeper, 1,800 feet, there is no water, which shows there is a linkage between the well and the water availability in the well to the lake in the locality. Now, if I rejuvenate the lake, will I get a water in the groundwater, in the wells? For that, you come to Saraki Lake. I was in the committee of that Saraki Lake rejuvenation. 3 years back, we rejuvenated. Within a year of rejuvenation, the water table went up by 300 feet. And this year, when entire Bangalore was facing a water crisis, in Saraki Lake, there was a water table less than 500 feet. And Saraki Lake had full of water, and surrounding area, the groundwater is less than 500 feet. And because of the water content, the temperature in the region was 2 degrees lower than the other city temperature. That showed the lakes help in moderating the microclimate, and also it gives you the water. Now, if you are using 18 TMC of water, you are also generating 18 TMC of wastewater. If I treat that 18 TMC of water, the Jakkur model, I will get 16 TMC of treated water. So that means 15 TMC because of rainwater harvesting, 16 TMC is for the wastewater treatment, reuse of wastewater treatment. I have 31 TMC of water, which is a surplus situation, which is a sustainable solution. For this to happen, I have 5R formula. First R is responsible citizen. Citizens will be responsible when they are environmentally literate. When they are environmentally sensitive, they become responsible. When they become responsible, they rejuvenate the lake so that I can retain the rainwater. And also they allow the reuse and recycle of the wastewater. Otherwise, when I write like this, some people will write to me, why do you want me to drink treated sewage water? One gentleman asked me sometime back. I told him, so I never get agitated, I only pity them. I said that you travel from Mysore to Bangalore along the Kaveri. You will be surprised to see that the sewage of Mysore is coming to Kaveri water, which is what you are drinking through your tap. Instead of drinking sewage of Mysore, don't you think it is better to drink your own sewage? Do you agree or disagree with that? See, that is what climate change talks about. Sustainability. Okay. Now, you are all in Bangalore, no? Let me tell you how Bangalore is becoming red and red. 1973, I had 68% green cover. That thanks to ISRO. Because of remote sensing data, I can picturize the growth of Bangalore. And today, 85% is red, 86%. Red means building, paved surfaces, etc. See, let me animate this. 1973, when I was of your age, Bangalore had green cover of 68%. 92, with industries coming up and Pini and Koramangala, you see changes happening. Then 2000, with industrialization in the outskirts, like Wipro's, Infosys, you see changes happening there. 2006, further intensification, 2009, and now you see the situation. We do not have enough oxygen, we do not have water, and there are kidney failures also. There has been 1078% increase in the concrete area from 73 to 22 or 23, and we lost 88% vegetation, 79% of the water body. Now you see, we lost the vegetation. Do you require vegetation in Bangalore? Children, you have to raise your hand. Those who do not want vegetation in Bangalore now have to raise your hand. That means every one of you require vegetation. Why do you require vegetation? Trees? You get? Are you sure? Because somebody asked me that question. I did the experiment also to prove that fellow why oxygen is required. One politician said, you fellows are environmental fellows, always talk like this. Then I said, sir, please give me some time to do small experiment. I will demonstrate to you. See, wherever I go, especially when I go to Vidhan Soda, I will take my students who are well built. That gentleman thought that, okay, experiment is simple. I asked him to sit down. I told my student, you close his nose. And when he closed the nose, he said, sir, I require something. I said, that is called Amlachanaka. Since you didn't attend the classes, you are the last bencher, you have become a politician. And since I am a first bencher, I have become a scientist. Okay, now let us proceed. How many trees are there in Bangalore? Let us answer that, okay? See, what I did is, I mapped number of trees in the campus using GPS. Global positioning system. You also carry mobile. In that you can have the GPS, okay? And link that with the remote sensing data. Now I got a special signature for the trees. This exercise I did it in couple of words. Then with the remote sensing data of entire Bangalore, I extrapolated how many trees are there in spatially in Bangalore. I overlaid the boundaries. You know, in each word how many trees are there. So my estimate shows we have 1.5 million trees in for a population of 9.5 million. That means for every 7 person, I have 1 tree. You might ask, how many trees a person requires? You know, we all breathe. I am sure you are all breathing, no? When you breathe, you give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 980 grams per person per day. While seniors like me, the people sitting in the front row, we give out 540 grams per person per day because our level of activity is very less compared to you all. And 1 hectare of tree removes about 6 to 9 tons of carbon dioxide every year. By that ratio, you should have 7 trees or 8 trees per person. You should have planted 7 or 8 trees. That's what Rigveda talks about it. Okay? Now, is this a new invention? No. Look at Bible. Bible talks about the importance of nature conservation at least 320 times. Quran talks of imminent war if you pollute the water. That's where when you go to Dargah, you have to wash your feet and finger with the clean water from the well in the Dargah. They thought that if you practice in the Dargah, you will also practice at home and community. Look at Matsya Purana. It brings the linkage between the water, child and the tree. If you have well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake, 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar, 10 sarovar is equal to 1 child, 10 children are equivalent to 1 tree. That means by planting 1 sapling, nurturing it, you get the same benefit of having 10 children. Now I'll put it other way. When you cut a tree, you are murdering 10 children. You know, don't you think that is very powerful? See, when I wrote an article like that, you know, one of the forest officers came to my office with the tears in his eyes. I asked him what happened. Why are you have a tear? He said it is because of you. Then I was quite happy as a scientist. If there are tears in the bureaucracy, that is a good sign. So the message I read. Then I told him, sir, I have not written any article against you. You must have misunderstood. He pulled out my article which was published in one of the local daily. He said, removal of tree amounts to the murdering 10 children. Now I have to remove 179 trees in Jayamal Road. Okay, when I remove 179 trees, tomorrow you will write an article saying that I have murdered 1,790 children. And if I don't remove it, I will lose the job. So I want a solution for it. I said nearby there is a vacant land. Why don't you acquire the land and start the replanting and transplant this thing? When he started planting the native species in that, Bangaloreans supported. No, that is where sensible solutions are required. Sensible solution can come only from the science, not by guess estimates, etc. Okay? Now, to understand Bangalore health, we have one more app, BUIS. It is called Bus. You know, Bangaloreans are always bus fellows only. They think that if they get 100 rupees, they say bus enough. Okay? So that's where we did, and also we put a thing saying water scarcity in Bangalore. What is the solution? You know, when there was a water crisis, only Bangaloreans think of me. You know, I was flooded with lot of queries at that time. You know, because this image was available, one fellow is so enterprising. What he did, no, he just copied and pasted this and created a small video of that. And I noticed that the viewer is about 7.9 lakh people. Just copy paste. Okay? But he didn't even acknowledge that it is done by IISC, TVR and group. He didn't even acknowledge. I have no problem. I am happy at least my science has reached the 7.9 lakh people. How Bangalore is dying, the 7.9 lakh people understood that. Then I noticed wherever I go, people used to show me, see how Bangalore, you are studying Bangalore, see how Bangalore is changing. Same medicine is given to me. Okay? Now, this is the nature principle I said. The water, the food chain, there is no waste. That's what you need to understand. And also look at the nature. There is a competition, healthy competition. There is an optimization also. Because of healthy competition. See, we don't kill anybody. The trees don't kill anybody. Whereas humans, you are not sure your neighbor kills you or he is this one. So he might encroach your compound wall also if you keep quiet, okay? Now let me take to the example of water. See, the water in the water bodies are polluted because of solid waste and liquid waste getting in. When water body is filled like this, it shows the contamination. It is nutrient rich. You know, lakes in Bangalore were frothy and there was a fire. I have traveled many countries. Nowhere people showed me coexistence of fire and water. I also did an experiment in my lab to see whether I can have fire from water, but it didn't happen. But only the Bangalore lakes has the fire. That shows the level of contamination. You know, froth is because of the phosphorus-based detergent we use. When you get into the lake, it gets trapped in the sediment. When there is a heavy intensity rainfall, there is upwelling of sediment happen with that froth formation happen. What is the solution for that? You need to treat the wastewater. What is the solution the babus in the government did? They just put the barricade. You know, when they put the barricade, I wrote an article saying that this is an ad hoc thing. It won't solve the problem of the Bangalore, the water contamination. They said, no, we have solved the problem. There is no froth coming on the road. The problem is the froth coming on the road and international media reporting everywhere. You know, European country and all. Then I wrote another article after talking to them that this solution is for 4 days. As I predicted, the froth crossed over 4 days. You know, that means these are all ad hoc solutions. There is no science in that. Science is removal of contaminants in the soil. Now, look at the way that this contamination is coming to us. You know, we studied the fish and people use the lake water to grow this vegetable. You know, when I analyze those vegetables, you go to Vartur, downstream of Vartur, Ramgondali and all, I collected the vegetable samples. When I analyzed, fish had heavy metal and even the vegetable had heavy metal. And even the milk has vegetable, groundwater has a vegetable. You know the consequence of heavy metal in our food. Do you know what will happen to the people? We are number one as far as cancer is concerned. Bangalore is number one. As far as kidney failure is concerned, you know, it was 1 in 1 lakh 12 years back. Today it is 1 in 5,000. That's where the number has increased, you know, because of consuming the contaminated food. You may be careful at your home. You may not be using plastic, but if you are using this contaminated food, you have the problem of the health. That is where we have to be careful. We should not pollute the water body. I gave the proposal to clean up this Belandur Vartur lake. Decontaminate the lake and arrest the contaminant coming. Decontaminate means I have to remove the silt that has accumulated in the lake. How much silt is accumulated? We did a sampling. That is what the science is. We also quantified how much silt is there, what is the quality of the silt. My study shows 11 million cubic meters of silt is there, worth 1,500 crores. Now, then I analyzed the quality of the silt. Vartur lake silt didn't have any heavy metal. Then I gave those silt to the farmers, about 400 acres farmers, I gave the silt. Otherwise transporting it to the other places would have costed more, believe it or not. When I visited the farmer after 3 months, because I am in the committee every month I go there. When I visited after 3 or 4 months, farmers gave me the royal welcome. They had got a bumper crop. Each farmer tells me, by growing vegetables, he got additional revenue of 1.5 lakh per acre. And they grow thrice a year. You see the worth of the silt. 1.5 lakh into 3 is the per acre is the worth of the silt. That is because it had nutrient, there was no need to have the fertilizer. Nutrient rich silt. So that is where the farmers, you can go and talk to Yatish or Mr. Khan in that area, they will confirm what I have been talking. Okay? So then I thought we should have another app called BLISS, Bangalore Lake Information System. You can just access this web page, you can see that the lake wise, what is the kind of water quality, what kind of algae is there, what kind of fish is there. My students, 2 from Kerala and 2 from Karnataka, we have covered all lakes in Bangalore. In fact, for your information, I must have tested the sewage of entire Bangaloreans. When I go and do the field work, no, I must have done that, okay? Probably that's why I'm also quite strong. Okay, now at the end I'll show you this app. Okay. Now, I'll give another story, how I solved the problem of a garden. Let me take you to Gokarna. Gokarna has a pond called Kotitirtha. The local youth wrote to me, some youngsters like you wrote to me a postcard saying that, sir, water is smelling, you please do something. Then what I did is, myself, my student, we went to Gokarna, we collected a water sample. We found that it is because of the organic material decaying in the lake. Why the organic material? Because people are performing ritual and that organic material, rice balls and banana and all are disposed in the lake. When you put those organic matter, it decay naturally, the smell comes. Now, I cannot stop the practice. What I did is, I had a meeting with the priest. You can see me sitting with the priest. I convinced the priest. I will identify a location, I call it as Vaikunta. You should collect 25 rupees per family. And another location as Kailasa, the 50 rupees per lake, per this one, when they dispose it. What the priest have to do is, at that designated location, they should chant, allow the family performing ritual to dispose those the puja material. And they collect 25 rupees, they should chant and collect. In the process, every month I have a revenue of 20 to 22,000. What I do that? I give it to the local NGO who have hired 3 youth. The youth, what they do, they take out excess rice balls from here, they feed it to cattle in the Goshala. And in the meanwhile, I also introduce the fish which eats the rice. If there are any leftover, it will eat this one. Now for the last 4 years, the lake which was like this, before God meets scientists, today the lake is like this. Earlier Abhisheka of God used to happen. Lord Shiva is there with the sun standing in front of him. Both were taking bath of this water. Now, they are taking bath of this water. Abhisheka happens with this water. Naturally, with the clean water, they must be happy. Probably today I am giving a talk here, it is because of that. God is happy. Look at my profile, last 5 years. We have done wonders. A lot of our research has gone to come to the society. People are so happy with that. It's because of this society relevant research we have done. This gives a glimpse of youngsters doing a planting in my campus. When one of my colleagues passed away, we didn't cry. We just planted on the 12th day 500 plants of the ficus species. Okay, that's how we remember. We also looked at the solar energy. What is the potential? Based on that, we have the solar program in the country. Now, I'll come to the last part of my talk. What I have done else. This is the water body I have created in the campus which stores 10 lakh liters of water, which also incidentally is the water chemistry lab for my student to work on biofuels. Not only students are happy, I have a pair of artists. When I don't know from where it has come. After creating a water body in 4 years, I saw the artists are residing there. And they are voracious eater of fish. I don't go and feed fish to them. But when we did the mapping of the biodiversity, the lake had enough algae, zooplankton and fish. That means if you facilitate the system, nature knows how to sustain the system. That's what we should do. And whenever I meet people, I'll also convince them to create a water body. So it happened in Mudbidre. When this saint met me, in his campus I gave a proposal to create a water body in a 12 acres area. The lowest, what is the size of the water body? And I see the success was because of the youth. Always science and technology students are this one, and always he was also quite young. Then I gave a medicine to him to create a water body in his campus which stores 25 lakh liters of water. And there is a planting of native species. I visit that campus every year. When I go there, I see greenery and enough water and smile on our face. I'll also tell you something small thing which may not be relevant for your age at today. When this gentleman met me, he was a bachelor. He was trying to get married, but it was not happening yet. Unlike Bangaloreans who search for partner in the Facebook, and next month they will file the divorce paper. And this gentleman, believe it or not, after creating water body, he gets a partner who take care of the joint family. Even when I go there, she doesn't want me to stay in hotel. She accommodates me in her house. See, this culture, science, society and spirituality have come together in this life. When that happens, the sustenance of natural resources happen. That's where I say, my country is rich in culture. And so is the spirituality. Science is also, we are good. If we integrate science, culture, society and spirituality, we can ensure sustainability of resources. Okay? Come to my campus, you will see this climate. I was fascinated by the architecture of the climate. Most of my inventions are based on the nature. Then I felt that I should have it in Bangalore, that too in the campus. I brought the pot which had 14 seeds. Out of 14 seeds, 7 I have kept in my lab and 7 I have planted. Why I kept 7? If somebody says you have not done it, then they can do DNA barcoding to find out whether I have planted. Okay? So that's where I have kept the sample. And I planted in 7 locations. Out of 7 locations, in only one place it has survived. Where it has survived? Next to the building where I worked for 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. Then, in front of my department, I created a mini forest in a 2 hectares area. 49 native species, 500 sapling were planted. Way back in 90s when I was young. And today you come and see, you get a feel of rainforest. And you will see, if you are lucky, you will see your friends, slender lorry, 4 families are there. And I have varieties of snakes and about 110 species of birds are there. Not only that, groundwater, which was 150 feet earlier when the region was covered with Parthenium, today I have water at 10 feet. And temperature in this region is 2 degrees lower. Whatever I was telling through my science, the climate moderation will happen with the ecosystem. See, I have a live example. That's where my talks have become popular. I give TED talks and all those things. That is because of this kind of example which drives the message home. Okay? Now, that is what I tell the stories to my students. You see my audience. More than 1,000 kids listen to me without any disturbance, as most of you have done today here. Okay? And also, I have a course on environmental education, environmental management. 22 years I have done. Every year I have offered a course for the people from industries, universities, and I think even from ISRO, some people have taken my course. This is in addition to my regular teaching and research. Okay? That means I am doing the knowledge dissemination at all levels. Okay? Now, another important thing, we organize a symposium popularly known as Lake Symposium. The uniqueness of the event is, I have given a platform for school and college students. Along with the international and national experts, the audience of 1,000, about 200 to 300 are the school and college students. They do a simple experiment like the carbon sequestration. In the trees, they measure the girth and height, they quantify the carbon, or they monitor the lake. The children do the experiment in their lab. Then the children in the rural area, they do the neighborhood mapping, biodiversity mapping. Now for you all, there is an opportunity. The next symposium, late 2024, which is the 14th edition, which will be during 17th to 20th of October. It will be in Mudvidret. When you come there, you will see that lake, you will see that forest, what we have created in Alva's campus, and even also in the Jain Mat, okay? Okay, this is where you can reach me. I do not use mobile. My email ID is tvr@IISC or emram.ces. And this is my portal where you get all the information, okay? So, the agenda of my science, to sensitize people, that is where the portal gives all the details. And also in YouTube, you will get all my talk, the Kannada version, English version, etc. And, agenda of my science is to sow the seeds of knowledge in this youngsters, in your young brain. When you have knowledge, you become sensible. When you become sensible, you become an asset to the nation. That's what I want. More and more youngsters taking up science and make my country more stronger. I want it, okay? That's where I have spent last 40 or 45 minutes sharing my experience with the sun, okay? And when you do a good science, there's a smile on everybody's face. Thank you very much.